Hi, friends. How's everybody doing? Welcome to Deborah's Money Journey. Welcome to 2026. I hope everybody is having a great start to their new year. And today I'm going to be sharing my December dividend income, how much money I made in each of the positions, and my grand total. I was so surprised. I was so shocked at the amount of money I made in my dividend. So I can't wait to share that with you all. So thank you all for joining me. If you're new here, my name is Deborah, and my channel is all about my financial journey, sharing how I save money, what I spend my money on through my budgets. I also talk about the strategies for paying off debt. I have paid off quite a bit of debt, and now I'm diving into retirement and investing. I'm trying to put as much money as I can away to fund my future, and I want to make sure that I'm doing the best job that I can do and being a good steward of my money. I hope that you consider subscribing if you like my content. If not, feel free to watch and stop by as often as you'd like. All right, so let's dive into my December dividend income. Before I get started, I just want to say that it's been a great year. I learned a lot. There's still a whole lot more to learn about investing, and I'm just really barely scratching the surface, which is why I say make sure that if you are going to be investing, that you do your own research, because I am not an expert by any means. I have no knowledge how to give people guidance on their investing. So that is something you need to make sure that you are doing for yourself. Make sure you're comfortable with what you're investing in, where your money's going, and so that you feel confident that you've made the best decision. All right, guys, let's dive into the December dividend income. So let's get started with the first platform. I do invest in four platforms, and that is SoFi, M1 Finance, Fidelity, and Vanguard. Oh my gosh, Vanguard. So those are the four platforms that I invest in. And so I'm going to share with you the positions that earned dividends in the month of December. Before I start, I just want you to know I'm not going to tell you anything about the position, how much it grew or if it lost money. I'm simply here to share the amount of shares I have and also how much money I earned in that position. That is it. I have a lot of positions, and to be honest with you, I think I have too many. I'm going to be making quite a few adjustments for 2026 in my portfolio, and I'll do that slowly over the next couple of months. But it will be a big change coming for this portfolio. But anyway, let's share the good news. Okay, so Vanguard Total Bond Market, BND, I have 4.2 shares. I made $1.84. I have JP Morgan Equity, which is JEPI. I have 14.42 shares and $5.25. Main Street Capital, it's Main. I have 17.88 shares and I was paid $9.82. Now, these positions, all three of those positions pay monthly dividends. So I do like dividends, but I'm also concerned that I'm not getting enough growth, which is why I want to make some changes to my portfolio. Okay, NVIDIA. I have 3.12 shares. I made 3 cents. Exxon, and I have 5.44 shares. I was paid $5.23. And, I think all of my positions, except for maybe a couple, didn't pay dividends. So December was an amazing month to make money on dividends because almost every position paid something, and a lot of positions paid double dividends, which is even more exciting. I have my robo investing account. There's many positions in there because it's automatic investing. And so for this month, I made $20.28 in dividends. So that's actually the largest amount of dividends I've made in the robo investing account, which is pretty good. Okay, so that is SoFi. Those are all the positions except for, I believe, one or two. And that is how much I made. So if you're watching the numbers, you can see how these amounts are pretty nice that I'm making. Okay, so let's move on to Vanguard. All right, so my next position is Vanguard. So in Vanguard, I have the real estate index. I have 3.87 shares, and I made $3.06 in dividends. Then I have the S&P Value ETF. This is my very first stock that I bought. This is the very first position I bought when I started investing on my own. It was VOOV. I opened a Vanguard account. I bought one share of this, and then that's when everything happened. Then I started just investing, getting new positions, growing my positions, and the rest is history. I have 7.15 shares, and my dividends were $6.74. Then I have the Vanguard VOX Communications fund. I have $2.09 in shares, and I made $1.28. Then there's the Vanguard High Dividend Yield, VYM. I have 15.4 shares, and I made $14.56 in dividends. Then I have the Vanguard Total Stock Market, VTI. This is a very popular position. A lot of people have VOO and VTI or VTI. I have 7.45 shares and I made $7.04. So those are all my positions in Vanguard. Vanguard pays quarterly. So if one position is not paying a dividend, then usually none of them are paying dividends, but they do pay dividends quarterly. Okay, next portfolio is M1 Finance. So let's share the positions. I will say this was my favorite. This was my favorite platform. However, I'm starting to slowly kind of lean more towards Fidelity, mainly because I have majority of my funds are in Fidelity, and I have a lot more skin in the game when it comes to Fidelity. So I still like M1 Finance, but I just don't have the bulk of all my monies in here. Okay, so for M1 Finance, I do have Vanguard S&P 500 VOO. I have 2.15 shares. I made $3.72. I have the VTI position in M1 Finance. So as you can see, there's a lot of duplication, and I just don't think a lot of this is necessary anymore. So that is what I mean by I'm going to be making some adjustments. But in M1, I have 3.31 shares, and I was paid $3.10. Okay, there's the M1 Schwab US Dividend Equity ETF. SCHD is probably the most popular dividend ETF, and I have 41.24 shares, and I was paid $11.36. Okay, moving on, I have the SPDR portfolio, another S&P 500 ETF, SPYM. I have 8.43 shares. I was paid $2 in dividends. I have Vanguard Materials ETF, VAW. I have 2 shares. I was paid $2.64. Excuse me, I was paid $1.64. Okay, Realty Income, which is they pay monthly. I have 15.1 shares, and I was paid $3.98 in dividends. Then I have Coke. Coke is another one. I have 10.39 shares. Um, Coke is good for growth and it's very stable. And I was paid $5.26. So M1 Finance paid pretty well this month. And again, another great month to earn dividends because a lot of my positions paid double dividends because they paid a special dividend or they paid capital gains. But it was a great month for additional income. All right, and then my fourth and final position that has the most positions is Fidelity. So let's go down the list. So Fidelity, I have the FDHY, which is an ETF, high yield for also getting dividends. And this one has 23.61 shares. I was paid $5.84. I have the Fidelity Dividend ETF, another one. And this one, I have 13.64 shares. I was paid $4.46. I have the Fidelity Mid Cap Index Fund, 4.44 shares, I made $1.42. I have the Fidelity 500 Index Fund. This is a very, very close VOO on the Fidelity side. So FXAIX, I have 8.11 shares, $5.85. And then we have the Zero International Index, FCILX. I was paid $3.95. I have the Zero Total Market Index Fund. I have 7.96 shares. I was paid $1.91. Okay, Fidelity Total Market, FSKAX, 5.13 shares. I was paid $9.07. There's a Fidelity Real Estate Index Fund, 8.6 shares. I was paid $1.99. Then there's the larger ones where I've started to invest a little extra. So the JP Morgan NASDAQ Equity Premium ETF does sit in my Roth IRA. My Roth was transferred to Fidelity. I have 16.31 shares. I made $12.44 in dividends. Then there's the Schwab US Dividend Equity, SCHD. It's a larger position. I have 179.6 shares and I was paid $49.85. Then I have the JEPI. I also have this position and I have 176.9 shares and I was paid $65.38. Fidelity Balanced Fund, and I have 31.6 shares. I was paid $4.74 in that position. Fidelity Balanced paid a capital gains increase in that same position, another $9.78. Then I have the Fidelity 500 Index, which is FXAIX, 44.76 shares. I was paid $32.35. And then at the Fidelity Zero Large Cap Index Fund, I have 217.12 shares, and I was paid $53.23. Then there's the Fidelity NASDAQ Composite Index Fund, and this one, I have 34.63 shares. They only pay a dividend annually. However, I made in December $52.28 in this position. So that is a nice gift to myself for the month of December. That is wonderful. And then my SPAX cash is the money that is not invested. It sits in my accounts, and the interest on that one has dropped. I think it was about 3.7 last time. Now it's 3.4. So yes, I'm not making as much as I was making earlier in the year, but I made $85.24. Now, this is Fidelity, but I do have a Roth IRA, like I mentioned, that I transferred, and I put that money in a T row account specifically for retirement. So it's a retirement blend account. And guys, I had no idea that account paid dividends. I guess I should have did my homework, but they pay dividends annually. I was blown away by the amount of dividends I made. So for that position, I was paid T. Rowe Price Retirement Blend. I have 2,130.51 shares. I was paid $534.92 in dividends. But that's not the icing on the cake. The icing on the cake is I made capital gains from that position to the tune of $116.94. That's about $650 in dividends for the month of December that I was not even expecting. Such a surprise. And like I said, December was amazing in terms of getting my dividends. We beat all of my numbers for the whole year since I've been investing, and I owe it all to December and December dividends. So let me share at this time how much money I made in dividends. I made a grand total of $1,159.70 in dividends in the month of December. This is incredible. It's crazy. I can't believe I made this much money. I can't believe it. It's just amazing. The fact that investing is another stream of income. And when you keep procrastinating and saying you don't know, you want to do it, but you can't, or you just don't have the energy, or you just don't have that get up and go about yourself to open up an investment account, what are you waiting for? We're in a brand new year. Start something new, open up an account, and start investing. If you have $20, start investing. If you have $5, but don't keep saying year after year, I wish I would have done that. Now is the time to do it. Start investing, and it's going to be okay. You will learn as you go. I don't have all the answers, but I'm so glad I started investing. It has made a huge difference. So tell me, did you make any dividends this month? What position did you make the most in, or what position surprised you? Leave it in the comments. Thank you all for being here. I really appreciate you. January will look different. I will have some change to my portfolio, but I'm hoping that I'll still be able to make, a nice amount of my dividends, and that I'll see continued growth in my portfolio. That is my goal. I will talk to you all soon. Take care, everybody, and Happy New Year.